Okay. Hello. Like I've mentioned, my name is Christine and I am an English support tutor at the Manchester campus. Today we'll be looking at using the academic word list in our writing. Now, if you have attended some of our workshops and classes or seen any of our other stuff online, you may be familiar with the academic word list. However, today we're going to be focusing at with incorporating it into our writing, how to go about that, and getting a little into the origins of the academic word list, and more importantly, using it to its full potential in our studies. Okay, so we had a quick refresher from last week's writing class, and that was talking about building strong paragraphs. Remember, each paragraph should focus on an idea, should have a clear topic sentence with supporting evidence, um, analysis, and a conclusion or a transition sentence at the end of the paragraph. Then we looked at analysis. What exactly is analysis? Analysis explains why and how the evidence is important. It also connects the evidence with the main argument and makes your writing much more persuasive. Also, we looked at using evidence effectively. Evidence should come from credible sources. It must directly support your argument and be explained through analysis. All right, so let's have a look at the session's agenda today. We're going to be looking at what is the academic word list, why is academic word list important, how it is structured and organized, then of course practical exercises. We're going to be using those academic words in writing. Then we're going to explore word families and their role in academic settings. And we're going to look at developing a plan to extend your vocabulary. Okay, that is the whole point of today's workshop, looking at how we can incorporate these words found in the academic word list in your vocabulary, and of course, the self-reflection and next steps. So, what is the academic word list, or for the purpose of this workshop, AWL? So, the academic word list is a carefully curated collection. Okay, so it's made of about 570 word families that occur frequently in academic tests, but are not common in your everyday English. So when you are talking to a friend or to a family member, you wouldn't use these words per se. These words are what you are going to use in an academic setting, whether writing in an academic way or talking in an academic way. If you're having a discussion in class, you would want to use these words in your vocabulary to illustrate your points, okay? So, as mentioned, these words are absolutely essential for expressing complex ideas and maintaining a formal academic tone in writing. So, why does it actually exist? Okay, it was created by linguist Avril Coxon in 2000, and the academic word list was designed to help students across all disciplines enhance academic language skills. So this list complements your general English vocabulary and bridges the gap between conversational English and academic communication. So this linguist, Avril, spent a lot of time and she designed the academic word list. And an important point to focus on across all disciplines. Okay, so it's not just limited to education or business studies or computer studies, it is linked to all types of disciplines. So let's get into what makes the academic word list unique. Like I just mentioned, it is not, excuse me, field specific. It is designed for use across all areas of study. So if your friend is studying health science and you want business, you both can use the academic word list together help your to help in your essays and your writing and anything related to academia. So the most important thing about the academic word list is that it has word families, okay? So it's not just a word by itself in isolation. You're looking at the word family, so it will have each entry will have its related forms of the word, okay? Example, analyze, that is a root word, okay? And then we'll take us into analysis, analytical, and analyzing. So you are improving your vocabulary up to 4 new words here, starting with your root, and then you get the different variations of that word. So examples of words are from your sublist, most frequent, analyze, significant, establish, from your sublist 5, less frequent, capacity, facilitate, generation. From sublist 10, that is least frequent, those are probably made of very niche words that you will use, but not as often as you will use the words from sublist 1, albeit integrity and ongoing. That begs the question, why use the academic word list? Okay, so you have this list, well, 10 lists actually, 10 sublists. Why do you need to actually use it? How is it different from just typing in, using a dictionary and thesaurus if needed? Okay, so one of the main reasons for using the academic word list is that it makes your writing more professional. Now, if you ever sat down, looked at your essay, and had a look at what you were writing, and you look at it and you say, this doesn't sound academic enough, or this doesn't read as I want it to read, okay? It sounds like I'm writing to a friend. It doesn't sound like an essay that my lecturer will be reading and grading. So using the academic word list will help you with that because it's going to help elevate the tone of your writing. It's going to align with the expectations of academic and formal context. Okay, so you are only using academic words if you are using the academic phrase, academic word list. So that means you are using words that have been used by other students, lecturers, anyone who has created any form of academic writing that has been pulled, all that information has been pulled, and then the academic word list has been created from there. So using those sublists will put you on par of any academic writer. And of course, if you have any informal phrases or phrases that you'd like to improve, if you swap them around with the precise AWL terms, it's going to make your work sound polished and credible. Okay, so example, the teacher gave more details, okay? Now you look at this, you say, it reads okay. I mean, I could make it better if I have to, and yes, you absolutely can make it better. It sounds very informal. The teacher gave more details, okay? You're like, "Oh," it sounds like what you'd say to a friend. If you're relaying it in academic tone, you'll say, the instructor clarified the topic, okay? So that reads more academically sounding. You get more of the gist from it than that very informal sentence. Now, another reason why we want to use the academic word list is that it helps you express complex ideas clearly. Now, when you are studying or writing your essay, you'll come across a very different fields of study with lots of trains of thought, okay? And some of these ideas may be difficult to rewrite in your own words, and you may be like, oh, I'm not sure how to do that. I'm going to try, but I'm not very confident. So using the academic word list will help you, okay? So it will help you to articulate your complex ideas with clarity and formality. And let's look at an example of this. Well, a very basic sentence. The group worked together to finish the project. Okay, so you're like, okay, that reads fairly well. How can I make that possibly more academic sounding? So the team collaborated to form the assignment, okay? Sorry, to complete the assignment. So you can see the group has changed to the team. Work together has been switched to collaborator. Now that sounds a lot more formal to finish. And then we got complete the project, and that has been swapped with the assignment. Okay, so changing a few words in your sentence with academic word lists will make the world of the difference. All right, so other reasons for us to use the academic word list is it enhances our engagement with academic text. Like I said, the academic word list has been made from a pool of about, I think, 3.5 million words. Okay, so the linguist had looked at a lot of reading material and pulled out words that appear in a lot of reading material. So if you are familiar with these words in your sublist 1 all the way to sublist 10, when you are reading an academic journal, if you're reading a textbook, you will come across these words, okay? They will not be unfamiliar to you. You will already have an understanding of what these words mean, which would help you to understand what you are reading. So, knowing these terms or words will help with your reading comprehension. It's going to help you to grasp your key arguments and more details very quickly. And of course, number 4, boosting confidence in academic discussions. If you are somebody who doesn't like to raise your hand or doesn't like to engage in a formal discussion because you're scared of using the wrong words, then the academic word list is for you. Okay, it's going to give you the vocabulary you need. It's going to give you the academic vocabulary needed to express yourself effectively and formally. And my tip is to try incorporating 2 to 3 academic word list words in every paragraph. All right, so we're going to look at how it is organized, okay? Like I briefly alluded to, it's structured into making learning manageable and efficient, and it's divided into 10 sublists ranked by frequency and importance. So sublist 1 is going to have all the most common words, okay? So you can focus on using sublist 1. Sublist 2 is also very common. Sublist 3, a little less common. Sublist 4, a little less common. And then it goes all the way down to sublist 10, which is words that are not that common at all, okay? Or not that common as compared to the words in sublist 1. So, examples of sublist 1, which is the most common, most frequent, and versatile, meaning you could use them interchangeably throughout different disciplines. Examples of those are analyze, approach, concept, establish. Now, these are some of the words. There are many more in sublist 1. Now we're going to have a quick look of sublist 10. It's including words that are not so frequent, but still important, okay? They're just not used as many times as sublist 1. They often add precision or nuance to your arguments. Most of the time, they could be very niche to that specific discipline. So unless you want that discipline, you may not use it. But some of these examples, albeit convinced, integrity, and ongoing. Now, what I do enjoy about the academic word list is that it has a focus on your word families. It's not the word in isolation like it would be with a dictionary. So if you look up the dictionary, I'm familiar about a word, you get the meaning, that's it. Okay, with the words in the academic word list, they all have a word family and they have related forms such as nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Okay, so you'll have all of those attached to your root word in your word list. Now, understanding some of the word families will help you use the same root word flexibly in different contexts. So if you understand the root word by itself, okay, and then our base word or root word here is analyze. So if you are able to understand analyze, when you see the noun of analysis, it helps you to understand what that word could mean, because analyze means to look at something critically or look at something carefully. So if you see the noun of analysis, you're like, oh, that is the act of, or somebody is looking at it with analysis. An adjective describing a personality of somebody, they have an analytical personality. The verb, I will analyze that sample, as in I will look at that sample tomorrow. So knowing the root word helps you to understand the other parts of the word family. Okay, so now I will have a practical task for you. Okay, you can have a look at the word families task. So here we're going to ask you to go to the website. If you don't have the Academic Word List website open, you can scan this QR code. Take a quick picture if you can now, and it should take you directly to the web page. Okay, I'm gonna leave it up for a few more seconds, and then I'll go back. Okay, so now we're going to do a quick exploring word families task. And for each of these words, we are going to identify and write down the noun form, the verb form, and the adjective form. Okay, so here are the words that we will be writing down: the noun, the verb, and the adjective. So the first one is signify. Number two is conclude. Number three is derive. So if you can find the noun, the verb, and the adjective of these words, I'll give you a few minutes to have a go, and then we can check our answers. Okay, so let's have a go at our answers. Jemina, would you like to have a go at some of the answers you may have found? Okay.
No,
Hi, Vic.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's go through the answers together. All right, so let's have a look. So I'm just going to do one. I'm going to choose a random one, and then you can possibly do them by yourselves, okay? The ones I don't do. So I have conclude. So I've chosen my root word or my base word as conclude. Now, the noun of conclude is conclusion. The verb is conclude, and the adjective is conclusive. Okay, so that's what we can do when we are looking for the different word families. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen right now and show you what the website looks like. Okay, so this is the English for Academic Purposes website. Okay, and as you can see right at the top, it says the academic word list. So if you have, I'll share that with you, the link, but you are more than welcome to type in the academic word list in Google and that will pop up. So this is what should pop up. It could be a little bit different on your phone, but your page should look like this. And if you scroll down, it says, what is the academic word list? And then it gives you a bit more information. And then it gives you the downloadable copy of the list, okay, with vocabulary resources. It also has quizzes. You will need to log in, create a username and password to log in to access all of that. But the academic word list itself is at the bottom, okay? So if you see, we have, let's have a look at approach. So if I click on approach, it's going to give me all the things that we just asked for. If we're looking for the noun would be approach, okay? And it gives me an example sentence. His approach to every problem is to draw up a list of pros and cons, okay? And then I have approaching has a synonym, which is access. And then it tells me the verb. We are approaching, okay? So the base word itself is approach, and then the verb is approaching. So it gives me a lot more information of that. However, I can also look at approachable, approached, approaches, approaching, and unapproachable, which is be your antonym. Okay, so here are your related word forms. If you're unsure about how to use them in a sentence, click on them and it will pop up telling you approachable is an adjective and it will give you a sentence of how to use approachable. Okay, so starting from here, here's your sublist 1. So these are all the most frequent words that you will use. You can see it stops with achieve. Achieve is sublist 2, so that's your next most frequent. And it goes down to 3, 4, all the way to 10. Okay. So I would recommend that you give one a go, work your way down. So that's basically what your academic word list will look like. Okay, does that make sense, Jemima?
Sorry, I don't understand. Repeat again, please.
Does that make sense now that you had a look at the web page?
I don't see.
Okay, I've stopped sharing the web page. I'm back on the PowerPoint. Can you see the PowerPoint on the screen?
Yeah, I see. Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let's get on with the PowerPoint then. So we're going to continue to use some more practical examples and we're going to focus on using the academic word list. For example, you're writing an essay on teamwork. The original is the team worked together to finish the project. Okay. So that is very informal. if we want to make that more formal sounding, we can use the academic word list and we can change some of those words with words we find in the academic word list. Okay, so the group, we swapped out the team for the group. We got work together. We have changed that to collaborated to complete the assignment. So that sounds more, it has more of a finesse than the previous one. The previous sentence sounded very informal. Now it sounds very formal. Okay, so yeah, you can give it a go. The results were good. So you are going to rewrite this with using words from the academic word list. Okay. Jemima, would you like to give that a go to rewrite it in your words, your own words, to sound more academic and more formal?
Okay. What?
So you got the results were good, okay? And then we got a helpful hint where you can use satisfactory, outcomes, or even excellent.
The results were good.
Okay, so now I want you to swap out results with outcomes, okay? And we're going to change good to another word. I think we'll put excellent. So I want you to say the same sentence, but we're going to change
Okay.
those words, okay? Tell me when you're ready. You can give it a go as soon as you're ready.
The results were excellent.
Okay, fantastic. One more time, but I want you to use outcomes instead of results.
I think it's better.
So we're not going to use results. We're going to use a word from the academic word list, okay? And that's outcomes. Can you try that? So the outcomes, and then we'll continue.
Ouch. Okay. The results were outcomes. I don't.
Okay, let's do it together. Okay,
Okay.
okay, you
Sorry.
ready? No, don't apologize to me. Thank you so much for trying.
Okay.
Okay, the out the
The
outcomes
out out
comes.
outcomes
Yeah, excellent. Keep going. Were
were outcome excellent.
fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So
Okay.
the outcomes were excellent. So that's exactly what we want to do. Okay. We want to use words from the academic word list and not focus on informal writing, which the sentence is. Thank you to Jemima. That was excellent work there. Good job. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next slide, and that is paraphrasing. So paraphrasing with academic word list. So that's a bit of what we were doing a minute ago, which is paraphrasing. So what is paraphrasing? Jemima, do you know what is paraphrasing? Or do you want to give me a definition in your own words? Okay, so paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is when we rewrite a sentence or paragraph in our own words while maintaining its meaning. Now, this is very important in academia because if we don't paraphrase, it means we are committing the act of plagiarism. Okay, so plagiarism is when we write down information without paraphrasing it, without adding a citation. So we want to make sure we paraphrase. We want to make sure we keep the original meaning. So how can we do this? Well, with using the academic word list. So the research shows that exercise improves mental health. Now we want to change the meaning of this. We want to rewrite the sentence without changing the meaning of this sentence. Okay, so if we talk about paraphrasing, let's look at how we can do that effectively. The study establishes that physical activity has significant benefits for mental well-being. So do you see how we have changed research to the study? Shows has been swapped around to established. Exercise has been swapped to physical activity. Improves has been changed to has significant benefits. And mental health has been changed to mental well-being. So we have changed a lot of the words there, okay, using the academic word list, but we have still maintained the original meaning of the sentence that if you are exercising, it improves your mental health. Okay, so now you have a ton to practice. And your practice sentence is the teacher said the project was done well. So how can we paraphrase this sentence? Do you want to give it a go, Jemima, of how to paraphrase?
Yes, I think it, paraphrase. Um, okay, so one moment.
It's okay. Take your time.
Okay, so the research shows the study of the mental health.
It's going to be
So
the
it's
bottom
the
sentence. The teacher
okay.
said
The
that the
teacher
project.
said their project was was done well. Oh, I think this is paraphrase.
Yeah. So let's do it together, okay? So we can say that can stay
The
the same.
teacher, okay, the teacher said the
So
project.
what do you call the teacher in class when you go to your classes? Do you say teacher or is there another word that you would normally use? Starts with an L, lec,
I think, I think teacher.
yeah,
Yeah.
or the lecturer. Have you heard that word before? The lecturer.
Okay.
Okay, so the lecturer said,
The project.
okay, but we want to find new words for that. So project, what's another word we could use?
The task. I
Yeah,
don't
that's great.
know.
Said the task was done well. Now this is very informal, so we need to swap this out. Was done well is how we would talk to our friends, okay? But in an academic setting, like our university classes, we would need to write it or say it in a different manner. So was done well, which word can we use that will show something was done well?
It's better.
Can you say that again?
Better.
Okay, that's a great answer, but we will need a more academic sounding word. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you, and we are going to have a look at the academic word list, okay? Do you see
Okay.
my word list here? So we're going to choose from one of these words to show that the task was done really well.
Alright. Mm.
Just go back up to one. Gotcha. Okay, let me know when I should stop. Okay, so we're going down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on sublist 5.
Yeah, been fun.
Well, have you heard of, let's see, don't know whether if I could do that.
Uh,
Okay, I think we'll need to go back up soon.
yeah. Much worth it. Uh,
Okay, let's go back up. So analyze approach
okay.
assess. Achieved. Okay, so I would say if we were to go achieve, because let's look at achieve, what it means, okay? Have you heard that word achieve before?
No.
Okay, so it means to gain with effort. So she achieved her
Okay.
goals despite setbacks. So that could possibly work for that. Okay. So we're gonna go back then. Assume that the task was I've writing that was achieved. Okay, so now we have swapped.
Okay.
So it basically means they have met all their goals, they have achieved what they set out to do, just like the teacher saying the project was done well. Okay, so that's one way we can use the academic word list to swap out the words to use with more formal sounding words. All right, so now you can practice at home when you have some time to write a short paragraph, 5 to 7 sentences about a learning experience or an academic challenge. This can be about a learning challenge that you experience, whether in college, can be a positive, neutral, or negative experience. Okay, this is your experience. You can write about it. And I want you to use 3 words from the sublist 1. Okay, so you saw all those words that we just were looking through. try and use 3 of those words, okay? If you need a little bit of help, here is an example paragraph. During my coursework, I analyzed, and that is a word from Sublist 1, the outcomes of a group project. This process allowed me to establish a clear framework for future collaboration for and evaluate our overall performance. Okay, so those are some of the words you may find in sublist 1. So you can go in and use other words. I think evaluate is also part of sublist 1.
I think it was a last minute thing before you put them on that. Yeah. Oh, I'm okay. Would you like some? Alright, that's enough. Are you sure? Bye.
Okay, so you have a look at sublist 1 and then write those sentences in your own time. And also we need to look at how we can develop a vocabulary plan. As always, I suggest starting with sublist 1, learn 5 to 10 weeks per week. So if 5 to 10 are too many for you, adjust that to 1 word. Keep your goals within reason, okay? Think about how you would benefit from this. Of course, what I like to say is keep a journal of definitions. So you'll have the word, you'll have what it means next to it, and then very importantly, example sentences. So use those words that you have learnt in a sentence. Put your theory into practice. What I like to say suggested to students is that if you know the word, know what it means, you see how it can be used, you will keep using it in your daily writing. Okay, and of course, set a weekly goal. This week I will learn and practice 5 words. Okay, if 5 is too many for you, try with 1, but get started with practicing. Now here is a QR code to access the English for Academic Purposes website. So you can take a screenshot of this or a picture, and you can access it in your own time and go through the list by yourself, okay? And of course, if you want some additional practice, choose 5 words from sublist 1 and sublist 2. Write the definitions, use each word in the 2 sentences. And if you want practice with paraphrasing, find the short paragraph in any academic article, rewrite it using at least 2 academic words. Okay. And this is myself, Christine. This is my colleague Kieran. We are part of the English support team at the Manchester campus, and you are more than welcome to reach out to us at this email address. You know, we are here for you to help with your presentation skills, putting together your presentation, assignment. If you need help with your assignment, reach out. General academic skills in person and online sessions just like this. Okay, so I will leave this QR code just on the screen for a bit. So if you haven't taken a screenshot of it, please do so now.